Spurs fans, get ready. We're probably going to hear a lot of Giannis to the Spurs between now and the All-Star break. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you had a wonderful holiday and hope you're having a great weekend. And a question to you, Spurs fans. Would this be a great move for the Spurs if they got Giannis? I'll answer that in a few moments, but first, let's go ahead and get into the article from Bleacher Report, and they did a hypothetical trade. They have a whole big article about trades that make teams contenders, and in this trade that we're focusing on, Spurs get Giannis Antetokounmpo, nobody else, and the Bucks receive a whole lot. Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Malachi Branham, and Zach Collins, and 4 players, and a couple players, let's be honest, on the list that quite a few of you would be happy to see off the team. Not gonna lie, a couple myself, I wouldn't be too upset if they left the Spurs. The 2025 first-round pick from the Bulls, which is top 10 protected. A 2027 first-round pick from the Hawks, which is unprotected. A 2030 first-round pick from Dallas. And a 2031 pick from Minnesota. I thought that Minnesota pick was a pick swap, and then a pick swap with Atlanta. So I think it's actually 2 picks and 2 pick swaps. Is that enough to make it happen? I don't think the Bucks are going to want to receive all those players. I think they'd be looking for more draft picks. If the Bucks are going to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, that means they're going full rebuild. I think they're going to want maybe one less player on that list. I'd like to keep Jeremy out of those 4, and probably more draft picks. So let's get into the rest of the article. Oh boy. So things look bleak for the Bucks. They are playing better, which has the Hoops World wondering aloud how much longer Giannis sticks it out. As Western Conference team executive told CBS Sports Bill Ryder earlier this season, teams are circling and hopeful that Giannis might want out sooner than later. If the Bucks are forced to trade Giannis, it will surely demand a mountain of trade assets. Yes, it will. We just talked about that. Teams not named the Spurs, Thunder, or Jazz would have trouble cobbling together enough picks to catch the Bucks' attention. It's going to be a lot of draft picks. They're going to want a ton of them. Those are the 3 teams that can do it. Our Spurs certainly in good position to give away tons of picks for a player like Giannis. The Spurs, well, here we go. The Spurs have silently stockpiled assets while fueling the growth of budding superstar Wemby. They still aren't ready to be considered even shadow contenders. Hey! Yeah, true. But add a megastar of Giannis' ilk to the mix, and they might surge all the way to heavyweight contender status. A Twin Towers 2.0 pairing feels capable of almost everything, or actually everything, if Wemby finds more consistency with his outside shot. Both are intimidating rim protectors who can comfortably and capably defend away from the basket. Offensively, either is a threat to pop for 50 points. Both are unguardable, around and above, for sure above the rim, and each offers enough creativity to generate shots for himself and his teammates. San Antonio lose some depth in this deal, but not deplete the roster. Keeping both Demasel and Stephon Castle would be a massive win. Plus, the Spurs would still have CP3 and Trey Jones to help organize the offense. There's a non-zero chance they could be ready to contend yet this season. All right, well, let's talk about this, and then I'll answer that question to start off with the video. Giannis' salary the next 3 years is $54, $58, and $62 million. That would be in the same time frame of Wemby's contract extension. Castle would be at the tail end of that, and the Spurs could have huge salary cap issues in the near future if this trade happened. So this would be a win-now move in the next few seasons. That's not the way they're building around Wemby. That's not what we're seeing Brian Wright in the front office do. They're clearly planning long-term by stockpiling a lot of draft picks and all these future pick swaps. So to answer the question, would this be a great move for the Spurs? Yeah, short-term, probably. No, for long-term. In the short, I'm trying to put together what our roster would look like because we're giving up a lot of players in this. I think the starting lineup would be Wemby, Giannis, Barnes, Castle, and CP3. The bench primarily be Charles Bassey, Julian Champagnie, Demasel. Yes, Devin off the bench. He would now be the 6th man if he's not already, when he's healthy. And Trey Jones. And then you got a mix of Sandro Mamukelashvili, Blake Wesley. Our roster's a little short on players with all the guys we trade away, so maybe we're going to bring up players like Rodney Minix, Brandon Ingram, or David Duke Jr. If he can find a shot, Mini City Sissoko, but we're not going to have a deep bench. Granted, our bench right now has been up and down. It's been a roller coaster, but our bench is going to be even more lacking in depth unless some of those young guys that's mentioned really step it up. And the most important thing is this version of Twin Towers 2.0. Is this enough to be a championship team? Because I'm looking at that starting lineup again. I'm like, all right, Wemby, Giannis. They're going to do their thing. They're both going to go off. We're going to have some rebounding, some shot blocking. We're going to have phenomenal defenders. Castle is growing into his role. He's been great as a rookie. He's going to be a great defender well. So we got the defense locked down. Barnes and CP3 have been playing very well too. Better than expected, if to be honest. But CP3, that window's closing, and how many more years he's going to be in the NBA? Is this year his last year? Next year? How long does that lineup stay together? And if CP3 retires, is Castle ready to take over the starting point guard duties? Is Vassell coming up in the starting lineup? And what's going to happen with our bench? Are we going to have any money to put a bench together when you have Giannis' massive contract and what be sure to be large rookie contract extension around the corner? I tell you guys, I don't see this happening. I mean, come on. We always see these big hypotheticals when teams are playing bad. And the Bucks, I think, are 500 now. They're like 9-9, so they've turned their season around a bit. But they're getting older too. Giannis is north of 30, is he not? Chris Middleton's been injured a lot. Damian Lillard's not the player he was in Portland, but that was also he's past 30 as well. It would be something interesting if it happened to certainly generate massive amounts of interest for the Spurs. And yes, they would instantly be a playoff team, no doubt about that. Probably top 5 Western Conference with Giannis. But is it enough for a championship team? Honestly, my guts tell me no, Spurs fans. If this move happened, I would have that huge excitement thing, like, oh my God, we got Giannis. And then I would look up everything we gave up. And if the Spurs didn't win immediately while Giannis is under contract, because I could see the situation being if, this is all big if and conjecture. If Giannis came to the Spurs, they got to win while he's under contract, either this year or the next 3 years. And after that, they're just not going to be able to keep him or keep this team together. It just all sounds bad. As I'm saying it, the immediate excitement is there. But I don't think they're good enough to be a championship. They might not even work well together on the court. Who knows? Teams might be, the floor spacing might be worse than ever. They're not worried about Giannis shooting threes. Castle's outside shot is still wonky. I don't want to say wonky, but it's inconsistent. Wonky's not a good word. Inconsistent. I wouldn't want this to happen unless, and I want to go back to the trade real quick because that's a big part of it too. If we're giving up a lot of pick swaps and if take Jeremy off that list, if I'm being honest, take Sohan off that list. We need a young player. Yes, he's got a contract extension coming up too, but it's not going to be massive. Keep Sohan. I know he's been a little dinged up lately, but keep Jeremy as a growing part of the piece of the puzzle moving forward. I like Kelman. He's having his worst year by far at the Spurs. I don't know if this weight loss is hurting his game. His three-point shot is wonky. And there's no player on the Spurs I don't like. There might be their play I don't like. And I've seen enough of Malachi Branham and Zach Collins to say, good luck to you wherever you may go. So if we take Jeremy Sohan off that list and maybe throw some other kind of pick swap or something in there, sure. It's not going to happen, guys. It's not. I mean, it would be cool initially. Long term, I don't think it'd be good for the franchise. It's not the Spurs' way of doing things to just try to bring a star in and make an instant championship team. And I think this would blow up in our face and just probably put us back. It would put us in the Buck situation that they're in right now. We'd be good or great while he's here. Yeah, top 5 Western Conference, maybe a Western Conference final team. I just don't know if we'd have enough. And then when Giannis leaves, maybe we're hitting we're in the situation the Bucks are in and Wemby wants to leave. Who the heck knows? It's not going to happen. But I like to, occasionally like to delve into videos like this or topics like this and get your thoughts. Do you think this could happen? And do you think this actually is a championship team? If we give up all those players and assets, are we a contender immediately with Wemby and Giannis? I mean, yeah, a contender, top 5, but are they a team that could take it home? Let me know in the comments down below. Hit the thumbs up if you'd like to become an official sponsor of TSR Sports. And subscribe to become part of the best Spurs community on YouTube. I thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.